Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This over here. Sorry for the delay in kind of sending out a video yesterday. Um, the homework was just to continue working on that timeline. I know some people were struggling with that, so that was considered due last night. So, quick announcements: if you did not get the timeline done and turned in, please do so now, and I can make sure to get it in and it's not marked missing. Next announcement, quarter one grades. I am still accepting missing and late work up until midnight Friday. So please get it in before midnight on Friday, and I can make sure we get that graded and going well. Third announcement, assignments will be assigned and then due the next day at midnight. So let's say I assign an assignment today. It's technically not due until tomorrow at midnight. So I want to make sure that you guys have a little bit of flexibility on time since you guys are distanced and doing remote learning. And finally, I'm putting up a YouTube channel for some of the videos. I know people have struggled to download them. So I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance, right, to get access to the videos as much as possible. So those will be uploaded there. I will also make sure to send out the link in Schoology. I had hoped to do Google Meets every day. I'm finding that there's not a lot of turnout, so I'm going to reach out to you guys in a bit. I'll send out a survey just to the remote students and kind of pull interest for Google Meet class times as well as what times work best. Because I want to make sure that if people are showing up, they have the best time. Also, another announcement, apparently my camera on my computer isn't working, so I'll have to get that fixed. Okay, so today we are going to kind of switch gears. Last class, we looked at the timeline, up to events, reviewed some things that we had learned, and now we're going to start looking at some new content and moving forward. So for all of my movie people and meme experts, hopefully you guys know what this guy is about to steal. This movie is a national treasure. It is a fun Nicolas Cage movie that I do enjoy showing in class, so it's not necessarily the most historically accurate. But essentially, in the movie, he has to steal the Declaration of Independence. And what we're going to be doing today and for tomorrow is looking at, reading, and analyzing the Declaration of Independence. Quick reminder, the Declaration of Independence, that's the reason we celebrate the 4th of July. Not the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence is our official Independence Day, 4th of July. So we'll look a little bit at that. Learning targets. So our goal for the next couple of days is to use the Declaration of Independence to understand colonists' views of government and to their reasons from separating from Great Britain. So we're going to read through the Declaration slowly in small chunks because it's a hard read so that we can understand what kind of government the colonists wanted and why did they leave Great Britain. So quick recap. You guys did the timeline. You guys know some of the events that were leading up to the Declaration. It's important to note that at the time of the Declaration being signed, that shots had actually been fired. Great Britain and the colonies were already at the beginning stages of mobilizing for war. The Declaration just kind of solidified that we would officially be splitting. So the surprise was, while Great Britain won at Lexington, as they expected, as the world expected, they actually had to retreat. at Concord. They didn't win easily like they had planned on. And so this galvanizes, this brings together the colonists saying, hey, maybe we could actually win. The First Continental Congress had already met up. Each representative from each colony, minus Georgia, decided to continue the boycott of British goods. And they were going to start preparing for war. They decided to meet in a year to figure out what they were going to do. So here's some of the vocabulary. We'll go over these as we meet them in the Constitution. But for those who like to have them available, I will also make this PowerPoint available to you guys to review outside of video. So debated, to argue about a subject in a formal manner. Independence, to be free from outside control. Fundamental, so a central or primary idea. So synonym could be basic. Impose, to force something unwelcome to be put into place. So to impose rules, to impose upon someone, is to show up at their house uninvited and unwanted. So natural rights, rights that all people have as a part of nature. Petition is a formal written request. Self-evident is not needing to be explained. So synonym for that would be obvious. Declaration would be a formal announcement. And finally, principles are a basic truth that serves as a foundation for a system of beliefs. So morals. So these are our principles. You see what we stand up for. Sorry, my voice is going bad. So in between the year that the First Continental Congress met and what will become our Declaration of Independence Day, there is a pamphlet that becomes wildly popular. It is called Common Sense, and it was written by Thomas Paine. It was originally written anonymously. Instead of putting, his name, he put Englishman down here at the corner. Why? Right? Because he didn't want to go to trial for treason. He didn't want to be thrown in jail. At the time, speaking against or trying to incite revolution was considered illegal. You couldn't do that. And so this was a piece of propaganda at the time for the separation of Britain and the U.S. It sold 500,000 copies in 6 months and really showed that there was a lot of support from the colonists to separate from Britain. However, through all the support, there was still hope that maybe things could be fixed, right? There was still some hope. And so they put together, the Continental Congress, a letter called the Olive Branch Petition. And it was a petition or a formal letter sent from the colonies to the British King, King George, to declare the rights of colonists. So they were saying, if you just give us these rights, we won't fight, we'll come back, we'll be a part of Britain. They really tried to make things work. However, King George refused to even read it. So he really wasn't interested in listening to the colonies anymore. He was like, you either follow my rules or we're going to have a problem. Olive Branch Petition coming from the story of the dove in the Bible. So we'll be back to that. So when King George refuses to read the Olive Branch Petition, the Second Continental Congress gets together and they see no other way than to break up with Britain. we are going to go our separate ways. The 13 colonies will now be the United States of America. The Declaration of Independence was written by Thomas Jefferson, who was young at this time. And we'll read through some of his wording. It was ratified and signed in on the 4th of July, 1776. So this is essentially the founding document for our nation as a whole. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later on. Britain's reaction. King George was not happy. He now realizes that if he's going to try and bring the colonies back together, it's going to mean war. So both Britain and the colonies start to prepare for war. In the Declaration, there are 5 what we call sections. And we're going to go through each section step by step and try to understand what they were saying. So you might ask, Ms. Hassel, why? Why are we reading the Declaration of Independence? Well, because this is the first formal document for our country. This is the document that created the United States of America. And so when they talk about these beliefs and the problems, what we're going to see as we move forward through history is that these core beliefs and problems will be reflected in our government. So they will continue to show up in how we interact today. For today, we're just looking at the section 1 and section 2. So we'll be reading the preamble and the core beliefs of the 13 colonies. Oops, nope. We'll get back. Calm down, my friend. So I'm going to jump ahead and jump over to Schoology. So on Schoology, if you guys go under week 10 or on Gradebook and go to the assignment, it should be under Wednesday in the yellow folder. It should be under Analysis of the Declaration of Independence. Hopefully it'll show up for us. So for us, it's due Thursday, tomorrow at midnight. And what we'll be doing is reading the preamble and belief sections of the Declaration of Independence to better understand why the colonies declared independence and what their beliefs for the new country were. And I will be posting this video for you guys. Okay. So, analysis of the Declaration. This is just an introduction. So we've talked a little bit about that. But what I wanted to jump to is the preamble. So in this section, you will find words and phrases underlined and a small number besides them. Use these numbers to go with the questions below that you'll have to answer for. So I will read this for you guys and then give an example of what we're going to do. So in Congress, 4th of July, 1776, the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. This is the first time that the United States of America is used formally and that it is given a name. This is where we get our name from. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separate. So take a moment. Look. Count your periods. So you have 1 here, And then we have another one until all the way down here. So we have to go step by step to understand this, because the Declaration was written quite some time ago, about 250 years ago, give or take. Actually, what? No. Totally. And so we have to take a moment to read through it pretty critically. So question number 1, what events led to the writing of this document? So if we look through, what events led to the writing of the Declaration of Independence? For this, look at the timeline you just completed. What events led up to this? Write down a couple of them. What was the main theme? You could write down that too. So any of those answers would be fine. You would look at number 1, see the underline right here. So now we have question number 2. So now when you know to scoot over here, so it becomes necessary for one people. Who are they referring to for one people? Are they referring to Thomas Jefferson? Or are they referring to one people as in the United States as a one people? Okay. Number 3. What political bands are connecting them to another country? So what political bands are connecting the U.S. to another country? What other country are connected to, and why? And lastly, number 4, what is the purpose of this document? What is Thomas Jefferson trying to say? What is the reason for this document? Just quickly tell me that. It's pretty representative of the title. Okay. If at any point you have questions, you can always email me too as well. So once we finish, we've read the introduction. This is the intro to the Declaration. Now we get into the meat, the kind of the harder, deeper understandings. So the belief section of the of the Declaration of Independence, simply stated the belief of the representatives from the colonies. They are going to say certain truths that they believe, and you read through them, and to the best of your abilities, put them into your own words. It only needs to be one sentence, and it can be very brief. That is fine. So the original text, we'll do one together just to kind of show you how it works. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, meaning, what are they trying to say? So the step 1, all men are created equal. Because I think that's important, right? All men are created equal, and they have what? And they have rights. Rights that are unalienable, which means they cannot be taken away. And so you will just go through and, to the best of your ability, put in what you think they are trying to say. If this gets complicated, feel free to use the internet to help you look up words or search. That's fine. That's not cheating. It's using your resources. It's fine. If you're like, I am definitely not sure, shoot me an email or leave it blank and then put in your comments when you submit it that you didn't quite know, and then we can talk it out on Schoology. So there are 9 other boxes. You'll just type your answers in over here, and then it should be good to go. That's about all that we have for us. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. I'll also make it accessible on Schoology. I'll also put the PowerPoint up on Schoology for you guys to access separately. So that is what we have. I hope you guys have a great day, and look forward to the video for tomorrow.